finish. Now let's go back to the action.
Dunlop Striker sports cars for the final time at Phoenix Park this weekend, and on pole position the man who did all the winning yesterday after a hectic final lap, Andrew Dalton. Alongside him Alan Dawson in the multicoloured car, but missing from the grid it seems is Des Bruton, who was on pole position yesterday. A second row starter should have been today, but his car has stopped on the warm-up lap, and it does look as though he's not going to be able to take part. But watch out for Jonathan Files on row 3. He's potentially the fastest man in the race, and the 5-second board is up. The national flag will be prepared.
This is the race.
And we're in a go situation, and it's Andrew Dalton rocketing off pole position. Alan Dawson getting into second place. Can't quite see who's third there, but Jonathan Files has forced himself round the left-hand side and come up into second place. Jonathan, who was the fastest man on the circuit yesterday, somebody going straight on. That's number 93, Kieran Dempsey, having an exciting time there at Dublin Crystal Corner. But it does look as though Andrew Dalton, yesterday's winner, and Jonathan Files, the man who feels he should have won yesterday, are going to make a race of it.
An absolutely titanic struggle yesterday, and we'll see what treats we have in store today. But disaster for Alan Dawson. He hasn't had a whole lot of luck off the start line this weekend. He was absolutely swamped. Made it a little bit easier for Andrew Dalton. But look at Jonathan Files going down into the Furry Glen. He asserts his dominance early on. Will he be able to make up for yesterday's faux pas?
Oh, and lots of people going straight on there. One of those, I think, is Liam O'Regan. No, he's got through. Somebody went all the way towards the Furry Glen itself. And it does look as though this striker field is thinning out a little bit. Poor Des Bruton should have started from row 2, but his car didn't make it round the warm-up lap. He had some kind of problems. But up front, it's Jonathan Files. Then it's Andrew Dalton. Then it's Bruce Allison. The two Dayglow orange cars rolling together. Andrew Dalton, who was in the right place to take advantage of a colossal schmozzle on the last lap yesterday, in the right place at the right time. He got through.
Superb scrap yesterday, and Andrew Dalton took his first ever victory in the best place possible, the Phoenix Park. He's going to find it a little bit more difficult today. Having said that, himself and his Celtic Aerospace teammate Bruce Allison have Jonathan Files on their sides, and keep an eye on Alan Dawson. A terrible start, but he's tagged onto the back of the group here in 4th place, and he'll have wins in his sights.
And Alan Dawson, of course, has been driving all sorts of things this weekend. He probably had more laps under his belt in Phoenix Park than anybody else. But watch these little cars under braking. This is the long, bumpy Coca-Cola straight. It's got a lot of undulation, especially towards the end. A big camber, and these cars jump and skitter about all over the place. They're very hard to control. Jonathan Files staying in the middle of the road as they come down to STP, and a sandwich. Alan Dawson up the inside, and the man who loses out there, Bruce Allison, but not by very much. Alan Dawson then just in second place, or is he? Could it be Andrew Dalton again?
3 abreast into STP corner. That could have gone either way. The discretion was the better part of the valor for Andrew Dalton, who backed off. As we watch it coming down into the braking area, Andrew Dalton backs off. He's squeezed into the sandwich, but he's the one that benefits.
And I didn't think there was room to get 3 cars side by side there. There's certainly room for 2 side by side in the main straight, though, as they come up to complete another lap. And those two are the 2 Celtic Aerospace cars. But it's Alan Dawson in second place, Dalton third, Allison 4th as they go down to Dublin Crystal. Jonathan Files has some clear space.
This is all playing into Jonathan Files' hands. As these 3 cars scrap, he's able to concentrate on his racing lines and smooth the whole thing down and concentrate on his braking points without having to worry about people around him. Alan Dawson has forced his way into second place, but it's too early. You see him looking in his mirror just above him. He knows that Andrew Dalton's right there. He feels him in his mirrors, but Jonathan Files streaks away.
And a grand battle going on for 4th behind them, involving Paul Roach, Liam O'Regan and John Conway. But those 2 teammates are doing terrible things together, side by side, as they go down to STP again. And it's Andrew Dalton still on the right-hand side of the road, claims the corner. No team orders, I think, with this lot.
No Ron Dennis on the pit wall there, but Bruce Allison did that very well. He was about to turn in. He just sensed his teammate inside him. Stayed out wide for just a fraction of a second later before turning in and resuming just behind Andrew Dalton. 3 of them in line astern behind Jonathan Files, but there's still a bit of a gap opening up there.
So Alan Dawson going through Dunlop corner, missing those plastic pylons, which several people have spotted over the weekend, down to consolidate that second place. But the battle certainly joined for third between Dalton and Allison. Andrew Dalton, the man in the white helmet. Allison trying down the inside now, wearing the blue helmet. He's got the line this time, very late on the brakes, and he now takes over third place as the two of them go side by side one more time down Coca-Cola Straight. This is pressure.
This is beautiful, clean racing. As we watch them coming down the straight, Andrew Dalton realizes that Bruce Allison has got a better run up the inside. He leaves plenty of room. Their teammates, they're not going to scrap over inches of tarmac.
Not entirely sure that teammates don't scrap, you know. Sometimes they're the fiercest scraps of all, but look at Andrew Dalton this time. Passing Alan Dawson under braking, gets a little bit too wide though, and Dawson takes it back on the exit to STB corner. This is good action, and those two orange cars, I'm not sure there are any team orders at all. I think they're just going for everything they can get.
Well, it's a titanic scrap. Alan Dawson's an extremely experienced competitor here at the Phoenix Park, and indeed in all forms of Irish motorsport, as we said earlier. Andrew Dalton, a relative novice. This is just his second year of racing, and he's showing that he's learned the art of racing extremely well. Oh, Bruce Allison, his teammate, takes out another one of those cones. They'll have got them all by the end of the race, as Bruce Allison, or as Andrew Dalton, struggled through that.
4 laps to go, half distance. Another 4 laps at this kind of pace, and they'll all be nervous wrecks. Down to Dublin Bristol corner again. It's Bruce Allison on the outside this time. Andrew Dalton trying the inside. And it's Dalton who gets the better of that little encounter as Bruce Allison puts 2 wheels in the grass. He's wagging his finger, I think, telling himself off there for doing that. But Alan Dawson must be having a little smirk to himself as he watched all that in his mirrors. The battle for fourth seems to have thinned out a little bit, but it's Liam O'Regan and John Conway now. Paul Roach has dropped back a little bit, but we've almost forgotten in the middle of all this Jonathan Files out in front, commanding position. Did he paint the car McLaren colours possibly so that some of Mika Hakkinen's luck would rub off on him? I don't know, but either way it seems to have worked.
He's got plenty of heritage here at the Phoenix Park. His father, Ken, his grandfather, Jackie Files, both heroes here in road racing, here in Ireland, and Jonathan is certainly carrying on that tradition. He's eked out a reasonable advantage at this stage, and Alan Dawson is starting to pull away from that scrapping pair of Celtic Aerospace cars, both of whom are trying to work together. We saw on the last lap Andrew Dalton waving at his teammate Bruce Allison as if to say, I've made a slow exit, you take up the running on the outside, I'm going to make room for you. But they're not really working together, not melding as a team, and that's allowing Alan Dawson to get a bit of a gap.
They are getting closer and closer together down to Dublin Bristol. It's Allison on the inside, locks a wheel, and that rather messed Andrew Dalton's ideas off because he was about to turn in when he saw the other orange car beside him, but they've changed positions. Allison now third, Dalton now fourth. Alan Dawson, of course, enjoying this because they're getting each other's way, and he's managing to make absolutely certain of that second place, barring disasters. Jonathan Files then, heading down, a vastly experienced competitor, not very old, but he's driven saloons, he's driven Formula Opals, anything that's got wheels he seems to be competitive in it, and that's certainly true of Strykers. Out of STB corner, has a little look in the mirror just to see where the rest of them are, and up through the very fast and bumpy left-right sweep towards Dunlop corner. We've got a retirement. Paul Roach from Selbridge is now Paul Roach in the pits. Alan Dawson going through, and it looks now as though Allison's got a bit of advantage over his teammate.
It's starting to spread out a little bit. Jonathan Files looks extremely composed, extremely well in control. He's just sliding the car out nicely in each corner. He's a fine wet weather competitor. He just checks his mirrors. He had to look there for quite a while to see was there anyone in there. With just 2 laps to go, he looks well in control of this race.
We'll be looking in his mirrors now to see whether anybody's done anything too dramatic. Another little battle. I don't think they're the same team, but they're certainly the same colour, 2 yellow cars. Liam O'Regan there, the man in front, and John Conway next in line. But the leaders now down Coca-Cola Straight. Jonathan Files still in front. Alan Dawson now having a little bit of attention from Bruce Allison. It's not as spread out as we thought. And Allison just darting a little bit to the left. The camber on this section of straight is quite severe. The cars dance around. You watch them under braking, jumping from side to side. Not an easy place to pass, but that doesn't seem to be putting Bruce Allison off. But Alan Dawson staying in the middle of the road, and Bruce Allison discovering the true meaning of understeer, just missing the tree, and then executing a neat little pirouette. You could do that to music, but you won't win the medal.
I don't think that was quite exactly what he planned. Let's see that again as they come down into STP corner. Bruce Allison's worked hard to get back on the tail of Alan Dawson, but he just understeers off. He gets on the power. It's never going to happen. Once he's on the grass, the thing doesn't handle like it normally does on the tarmac, and a bit of a shenanigan.
Jonathan Files into the braking area for STP corner for the last time, over the bumps, comfortably in front. Alan Dawson in second place. Andrew Dalton hasn't given up trying to be second though, flying down the inside for the final time and taking the place. A classic move, and I don't think Alan Dawson was waiting for that.
I think the three of them just want the race to be over. That doesn't include Andrew Dalton though, because he certainly caught Alan Dawson napping. He thought he was second place. As we see it here, coming down into the braking area, Alan's left a huge gap. Andrew says, thank you very much, I'll have a bit of that. Alan just realised that at the last moment.
And through the final corner, sliding nicely, Jonathan Files heads down the straight to finish in first place and take a striker win. He wanted it yesterday, he got it today. In second place, Andrew Dalton just made it from Alan Dawson by about half a nose cone, but Jonathan Files punches the air. He's pleased. And there's the result. Jonathan Files first, Andrew Dalton second, Alan Dawson in third place.
A fabulous weekend's racing action here at the Phoenix Park. We've seen some brilliant racing in the Ortiz and in the Striker race. I've got with me Jonathan Taylor and Jonathan Files. Jonathan Taylor, not so much luck in the Ortiz?
Not a bad weekend. We finished in the top three, but without DHL and the Sunday World, we couldn't have done it, so I had a great weekend.
Jonathan Files, you took a superb victory in this afternoon's Striker race. You must have been very pleased.
Yes, Declan, I was very, very happy. I qualified fifth, and from the time the flag dropped, I said that I got a very, very good start. Got into second for the first corner, and then took the lead, and then from then on in, the penny striker led the whole way home.
We saw a frenetic race yesterday. You were a little less lucky in that one. Tell us about that one.
Yes, I qualified third yesterday, and then the clerk of the course politely asked me to move to the back of the grid for passing under a yellow flag. I led the race from the last row in the grid for 3 times. I actually led the race and finished fifth in the end, and that's why I started fifth today.
A superb result this afternoon, and the two Jonathans I have with me were also the first winners this year of Dunlop Driver of the Month, and I have with me Richard Warbrick from Dunlop, who's going to present the two boys with their winning cheques.
Jonathan, well done. Congratulations on your nomination for the driver, and to you, Jonathan, again.
Thank you very much.
And good luck with your draw at the end of the year to see who'll be the Dunlop Driver of the Year 1999.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Doctor.
Well, that's it from the Phoenix Park. I hope you've enjoyed this afternoon's fabulous action.